think of. And then I would come home and I'll tell my mom. It's like, yeah, they keep calling me white boy. But like, 'cause I didn't know race at the time. I just thought, black and white just because it's only obvious. But then she's like, no, you're Mexican. You have to go tell them that you're Mexican. So I went and told them, and then they're like, you're not Mexican. I'm like, yeah, I am. My mom told me I am. And she goes, well, speak Spanish. Well, I can't. Then you're not Mexican. I'm like, oh, that clarifies it. Perfect.
Yeah. And it built up a lot of resentment towards my own culture, like it built up a lot of like, well, fuck, like, then maybe I don't want to be Mexican. Maybe I'm cool with and I am multi-race, so like I do have different races in my background and stuff, so.
Okay.
I mean, there's always been that sense of like, oh, I don't belong to a certain subcategory of like cultures and shit. But one thing that I did fall into really heavy was music, and just being like involved with choir. I moved in with my dad, and I had the option of being in band or choir, and I went into band for a little bit, but then I wasn't really liking anything, and it was dope. Like I learned how to play a couple instruments, but I felt like I should have been doing something else, and I had started hanging out with some friends, and like we were all kind of like trying to do like some 3L dub type shit, like on some like little preteen singing stuff, and there were only two of us that really could sing. There was four of us, and then there's two of us who could really sing, and then one day we were like practicing at school, and then our band teacher was like, if we're learning the Star Spangled Banner, why don't you guys sing it? And I was like, I could do that, like, why not? But I was so nervous. It was for, like, an assembly, and, like, all our fucking friends were gonna be there, and I was just like, oh my god, why did I say yes to this, But it was fun, and, like, mind you, it was in the middle school with fucking the middle school PA speakers, and, like, we totally didn't mesh with the band, but, it was fun, and, like, from that, then the principal was like, you guys should do this at, like, games, and you guys should do this, like, when we have special guest speakers, and you get, and I was like, fuck it, why not? And then at that point, my band teacher was like, hey, look, like, I'm going to put my best students in a competition to perform at the Kodak Theater, and they have a vocal competition. Why don't you guys sign up? My school was so, I guess, low income that we didn't have an actual choir. Like, we didn't have the money to have both a band and a choir.
What was it, like Rosemead or something? Rosemead High School? Like, what high school did you go to?
Oh, well, this is still in middle school.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I went to Southeast Middle School and Southeast High School. They're right next to each other in Southgate.
Okay.
Yeah, they're literally, like, right next to each other.
Is that the same thing as the Southeast Academy?
Huh? No, Southeast Academy is behind it.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 schools in that school. And there's Southeast there's Southeast International Academy, and then there's Southeast Middle School, and they also have an International Academy, and then Southeast High School. They're like all right, and then Jordan's like right across the street.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a competition, and he was like, I'm gonna send you guys. I really feel like you guys could kill it. So we went to audition. The audition song was Lean on Me by Bill Withers, rest in peace. And I nailed it. And I didn't even think that I was going to do it because the girl who was also singing in our group, she was a phenomenal singer, and she doesn't sing anymore, but she had a really good voice and like had a really strong voice, and I was scared. I was like, fuck, they're only going to take this girl. But then they called us back and they told us that we both had, pretty much made it into the competition, and that we were going to be pulled from school every week to go to USC and practice. So, like, here I am, like, 13 years old with my first real, like, professional teacher and professional choir, essentially, because these were kids who came from, like, St. Mary's High School and St. Mary's Middle School and, like, like, Bosco Tech and, like, all these, like, high-end, like, fancy private schools, and, like, here we are coming in from Southeast LA. It's just 2 of us. Mind you, we're the only 2 who are not in a choir. So everybody who was there was in a choir. So we were just like, what? We've never even taken vocal lessons like this. So we got like, trained by a really skilled professor at USC, and who was awesome. I wish I could remember his name. But then You know, lo and behold, 3-4 weeks later, we learned 5 songs. We learned a classic song. We learned a folklorico song. We learned, obviously, Lean On Me. And then we learned, like, a contemporary song. So we had to show off our different styles. And it was at the Kodak Theater. And that was my first big show. You know, like, that was my first real experience performing with a live audience. And
all at 13 years old.
It was dope. It was dope. It was like one of the greatest experiences ever. And then after that, I looked for more things. Like, I was like, I really want to, like, continue competing or doing things like that. And it was really hard to find those. So I just stood to, like, writing my own music. And I've always wrote my own music. And then in high school, immediately I was like, I want to do choir. Like, I want to see what's up. I had already seen the choir because since the high school and the middle school were together, we got to come see their performances sometimes. So I was already like, I want to go there. Like, I want to be in the choir ASAP. I already knew the teacher. She had went to UCLA and she was fucking awesome. So then I joined choir and immediately, like, just found my place. Like, I was being put in all different types of ranges and being placed, like, on a bunch of solos. And even with that, like, we did multiple competitions. We always came out with, like, the highest scores. And we actually created another choir, an after-school program called Troublemakers, in which we were a treble group, which pretty much means that we create the instrumental noises with our voices. So, like, as opposed to having an instrumental, we would sing the notes that were part of the song.
Kind of like
a main choir around it.
Is that like a doo-wop type of, like, inspiration?
Kind of, but, like, it wasn't, like, doo-wop. It was literal, like, mimicking. If you look up this group called Reverse Osmosis from USC, they were, like, one of the first people to ever really do it. But it's just, like, an a cappella group. So, yeah, it does have, like, a Boyz II Men kind of feel where we just, like, in uniform kind of make the song sound right, but at the same time we were doing some crazy shit. Like, we were doing NSYNC, we were doing fucking Muse, like, all types of crazy shit, dude. And, like, here we are, like we're like 16, 17 years old, and then we went to UCLA. We got to compete there, and I don't remember winning anything there. I just remember us, like, kind of going and then having to come back. But yeah, dude, and then I sang my I just sang a lot throughout, even before, like, high school ended. I just sang a lot, and then when college came around, joined choir. I went to Mount St. Mary's College, and was the first person in my family to really go to college, and I went there, and I wanted to be a nurse originally, and then I was like, fuck this, like, I want to help people, but I can't do it like this, and so I started doing environmental science, and then I got into the choir, and the choir was so small. There was only, like, 7 girls in that choir, and it wasn't hard to stick out, you know. It wasn't hard to stand out in that choir. And my choir teacher, Therese Fassant, she's still there, and she was just like, I'm, like, totally blown away. Like, you need to make this your major, you know. And unfortunately, I dropped out of college because it was just so expensive. But then, you know, I'm kind of grateful for that, because I feel like if I hadn't dropped out of college, I would have just stood, like, keeping my music at the wayside and just kind of, like, focusing more so on school. And then, you know, I mean, I'm sure my life would have been great with a degree, but, you know, like, I'm happy where it is now, and I'm happy that, like, those experiences still kind of shaped, like, my music life. And it's dope because I was able to apply, like, those professional skills to things like rap and to things like East of the River. And, you know, even before East of the River, I was in another crew called Iron Lung Movement, and they're from Southgate, and they're from Southeast LA, and, like, they're dope, you know. I mean, that's why I think I can hang with EOTR, because EOTR is 10 people, and Iron Lung Movement was, like, 13 people.
Okay.
There are a couple artists who still rock, like Stanley Ipkiss. I don't know if you know him. He's from, like, Dark Ghost Clan or something like that.
I've heard of Stanley Ipkiss. I just didn't know, like, what he did. So.
Yeah, he's still making music. He definitely makes way different music now, but he makes music still, and I think he's really the only one still doing it. But you know, I gravitated away from that. You know, we just kind of had a fallout, and, you know, things happen, and You know, like, and I started noticing that he was like rocking every show, but then so was I, you know, and like a lot of you remember shows back then, like there were a lot of whack ass people on the lineup, and then there were like 3 or 4 good solid people, and every show that I did, he was always one that showed out and always fucking just rocked that shit. So he rocked it, and then I met Killatech, and it was at like a smoke-a-thon. I was like, oh, St. Patty's Day or some shit like that. And I was in line to get a medicated turkey leg, and fucking so was Mad Max, and just started talking, and then...
A medicated turkey leg?
Yeah.
How the fuck is that?
I don't know. It was horrible. It was such a bad idea.
Yes, it sounds horrible.
In line was waiting to get it, and they fainted. And that should have just been like a sign to not get it. But I still got it and got fucked up.
Oh, God. Well, I'm gonna ask like a side question real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, do you remember like one specific time that stands out compared to other times you've been high off your ass?
Yes, there's definitely a couple of those. I think the funniest time that I've ever been faded was I was hosting a show for the Unity Project. Shout out Rick. I was hosting the show for the Unity Project at Characters Bar in Pomona, and my dumbass had never taken a dab out of a nectar collector, which pretty much has no water source through it. It's like a straight shooter for wax. And I don't know if you know also Blanco. He's from Whittier as well. He's a producer. He's really sick. He's a huge dab head, and was like, hey, do you want a dab? And I was pretty broke at the time. I didn't have no weed. I had no, like, way of getting wax, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm down. I took a fat-ass dab. Like, stupid fat, not realizing that there's no water, and that I'm just hitting the source. I'm, like, just hitting the fucking wax. And then I, like, tell him, like, whoa, dude, what was that? And he was like, oh, that was wax. And it was, it's an indica, and it's a nectar collector. And I was like, why do I feel so dizzy? You know? And then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get some air and I'm gonna shake it out. I'll be cool. And then I fucking go inside, and then I go to the bathroom, and I try and throw water on my face, and I'm like, yo, like, I'm about to die right now. Like, fuck is happening, you know? Like, I'm losing my vision, I can't see, but I'm sweating, my ears are on fire, my fucking hands are clammy, I feel like my face is, like, pale white, because I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like, what the fuck? And, I walk out, and as soon as I walk out, I fucking faint.
Oh, shit.
And the host, or, like, the guy who threw the show, he caught me. And he told me that if he hadn't caught me, I would have, like, smacked my head on the table.
Oh, man.
And then I still hosted the show, and then I rocked.
I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man, no matter, like, like how under the influence you are. And,
but
you know,
that's definitely, like, the highest I've ever been in my life. Like, even if when I take tolerance breaks and then come back and shit, like, I don't think I will ever be being that high, like, ever again.
So there is such thing as being too high. Yeah, because I used to tell people, like, dude, there is such thing as being too high. For me,
there's definitely is, and it's scary. But you know, I think if you can handle it well, and you just drink enough water and maybe get some CBD in you, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But there are ways. Now that I'm older, like, I definitely know how to, like, handle my substances a lot better. When I was younger, I was just like so fucking, what's the word? What's the word? Not irresponsible. I mean, yeah, but like.
Pothead?
I don't know what word it is. Like not relentless, but like when you just don't give a fuck. Irrational. I didn't care. You know, like I just did not care. I was just like, fuck it, I'm young. I'm gonna smoke. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna do all like the things on. But like it's not like that now. Like when I drink now, like I really need to be in the mood to drink. And I mean, I still smoke every day. You know, I work at a shop and shit, but it's definitely more so in like when I really need it it, like as opposed to back then just being a little pothead and just wanting to smoke everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.